Welcome back to my channel, everybody. I am RL Melpica, the Eat Coach, natural health and diet specialist. And look, I've received a lot of questions throughout my journey and throughout my channel here about nutrients and how do you get enough nutrients on a majority fruit diet or a majority raw diet. And I wanted to take the time to do a video to address all of that. To me, the best way to do that was to track my eating for a complete week to show you guys how you can get enough nutrition by eating fruits, leafy greens, a little bit of nuts, and a little bit of seeds. But first and foremost, make sure you hit that subscribe button in your lower right-hand corner so you can get notified of whenever I drop new videos that associate with natural health and diet. If you're looking to make some changes, this is the time. Also, if you are looking to make a transition, I just released my ebook, The Natural Reset, A Beginner's Guide to Help You Transform Your Health. The link is actually in the description, so check that out if you're interested in making some changes. It's donation-based, so whatever feels right to you, and it's yours, over 60 pages of information. But let's talk about nutrition, okay? So like I said, I tracked my eating on Cronometer for a week to show you guys kind of where I'm at. And believe me, I understand where the questions stem from. We've just been conditioned and taught these things, and it all comes from the foundation of what the standard American diet or the standard diet is portrayed to be, because it's full of so many things that we're not physiologically built to eat. It is lacking so much in nutrition that they've created these concepts and these ideas of, man, we got to make sure we get this and we got to make sure we get that in this food. So we got to eat this food with that food to make sure we're getting the complete array of nutrition, right? All based on lack. But when you eat your main food sources from the fruit and vegetable kingdom, add in some nuts and seeds sparingly, all the bases are covered. And I'm going to show that to you guys today. Now, let's start with macros. I talk a lot about the 80-10-10 diet by Dr. Douglas Graham, and amazing book. If you haven't read it, make sure you read it. I highly encourage you to do so. Has just great information, right? I live by that standard. That is what my philosophies are based off of. 80% natural carbs, 10% fat, 10% protein, right? If you stay within those lines, you are on the path to health, okay? Right? So this is what my week looks like. Now, I wasn't perfect, right? 82% carbs, 13% fat, 5% protein. Now, the main thing is when I say 80-10-10, the 10s are the maximum. So you don't want to exceed 10. So I exceeded the fat a little bit. I think I had a little bit too much, too many nuts. To slightly exceed that 10%. But you see my protein is extremely low, and my protein is usually pretty low, but that's where you kind of want to be. If you look at fruits in general, for the most part, they're roughly around that 5% mark when it comes to protein. So those are my macros. So just so everybody can get an idea. Plus you see 15, and these are averages, right? This isn't the entire week. This is average based on the entire week. This is what I was averaging. 1,506 calories. Now that's a little, I like to stay around 1,800, but I am trying to drop about 5 more pounds to get to a specific weight there. So, and I'm extremely sedentary. Like I do a lot of computer work, a lot of content work. So I'm not moving that much. So that's why my calorie input is a little bit low. I always say anywhere from 15 to 2,000 calories is probably where you want to be at, depending on how active you are. If you are extremely active and you're a bigger individual, obviously those calorie counts are going to be a little bit higher. But it's all about the ratios here. You want to stay around that 80-10-10 type of ratio. Now, if you look at vitamins, you will see that these are all averages here, that the fruit, vegetable, the raw kingdom, right? Nature provides you with everything you need from a vitamin standpoint, as you can see my numbers here. Now, some of these things fluctuate, and remember, these are going off of what Cronometer considers healthy, right? As far as daily intake goes, right? And they are always overcompensating because they're basing their numbers off of the standard American diet. So if you're eating an unhealthy diet in the first place, you're going to need more of these nutrients and whatnot. But when you are eating majority raw or fully raw, frugivore diet, you're not going to need as much, but you'll still see I'm exceeding it on a number of different vitamins here, but also everything that I need is there. You know what I'm saying? There's no lacking aspect on those. Now, some may say, well, what about the B12? Well, look, the way they track B12 on Chronometer, first of all, is flawed because they are of the mindset that you have to get B12 from outside sources, when the whole B12 situation is based on absorption. It's based on the intrinsic factor. And I can do a completely different video on that, right? So B12 and the amount of B12 you need is like minuscule, and it stays in your system for up to 7 years. So B12 is something that has been propagandized. I don't even think that's a word. They built propaganda around B12 specifically against non-meat eating individuals. That's a whole nother show here, whole nother video. So, but yeah, as you can see from and then vitamin D, obviously, look, I get my vitamin D from the source, from the sun, and you can't track that on Chronometer, right? And one of my biggest thing is you have to make sure you get outside, you get in the sun daily so you can get your vitamin D fix, right? Now, from a mineral standpoint, as you see here, mineral-wise, the array of minerals you get from a raw frugivore diet. And as like I said, it's right here, right in front of you, okay? And once again, you'll see some of those a little lower, like the zinc and the sodium, but those are based off of the standard American diet ratios here. So fruits, veggies, nuts, and seeds are giving you everything you need: the calcium, the copper, the iron, magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, potassium, all of it, right? It's all there for you, right? And look, I never promote just mono eating, like, living on just apples for 2 weeks. The leafy greens, that's where you get your minerals. The vitamins are super excessive in your fruit kingdom. The minerals super excessive in the green and the veggie fruit kingdom, right? So the balance of those two things, and you add in some of the nuts and seed to give you some of the other things. It's created for us in a perfect way, and physiologically we're able to handle that in a perfect way as well. So, and then the last thing is the fat, fats, and which, like I said, you want to keep your fat intake low, right? But that's where your nuts and seeds really come into play. Avocados as well. You don't want to eat those all the time. I mean, I usually do my nuts and seeds maybe 2 days a week, and I do roughly a serving size, and this is what I get. And definitely enough. For sure. Remember, you are what you eat. So if you eat a lot of fat, you're going to be fat. Like that's just as simple as it can get. They try to make it more complex than that, but it's not. It's that simple. When they try to tell you that sugar causes fat, what are those sugars associated with? A lot of times they're not natural. I should say all the time, they're not natural sugars. They are sugars that are attached to either complex carbs or sugars that are attached to processed foods, therefore having other aspects of fat. So anyways, and then the last one is always the big one is protein. Okay. So protein is probably if not probably the first, the number one thing I get asked about all the time as a natural health and diet specialist and somebody who promotes the frugivore diet. Mostly because people don't understand the concept of protein. Number one, we need the amino acids. We don't need the full proteins, because you get full protein from something, your body has to break it down to build it into its own human protein. So that's extra burden. That's extra processing that your body has to do. And anytime you're overworking your body, you're losing energy to regenerate, to revitalize, to repair your body, right? At the end of the day. So if you look at my protein intake, averaging about 23 grams of protein a day, right? That is right in line with what I need, what anybody needs, 25 to 30 grams of protein a day. They try to tell us 70. At some points, they try to tell us over 100, but the truth is that's where you need to be. And these are your amino acids that are underneath that are building up that protein. So if you look at what I average for the week on a majority fruit, raw frugivore diet, you'll see that my vitamins, my minerals, my ratios are all intact. I'm getting exactly what I need to survive and thrive in life, right? Over alkaline, I mean, extreme alkaline diet, right? Energy efficient, high energy, low fat, low protein diet. And I'm getting everything that I need. So hopefully that clears a lot of things up for you guys, because I know there's a lot of misconceptions out there. You know, how can you do it? And I think part of it is because when you guys think of eating fruit, you think of having, oh man, one apple for breakfast. No, you need calories at the end of the day. So you got to match those calories. You know, I like to say, you know, if you eat 3 meals a day, try to get them around 600 calories each, right? And 600 calories is going to be, you know, 4 bananas, 2 apples, something like that. You know, you're going to have, or six bananas, or 2 or 3 mangoes, you know, or 2 pounds of grapes, things like that. Like, that's how you have to look. You have to look at these things in a meal sense, like a totality sense, instead of, oh, I can have a handful of grapes and that's me eating my fruit. No, it's not. That's you snacking on some fruit. But when you make that commitment, this is where it truly comes into play, where you know you have to eat the fruit as a meal, not a snack. And if you need more help with that, like I said before, my ebook is available in the description. It's a 60-page ebook. It'll help you make that transition if you are looking to implement more raw foods into your life. It's very gradual. It's got an 8-week plan with a ton of information on kind of the process, what your body's going to go through, calorie intake, food combining, all those different things. And look, it's available to you only for donation, like whatever feels right to you. So like I said, it's in the description if you want to check that out. Otherwise, make sure you give me a thumbs up if you resonated with this video, and make sure you subscribing to the channel. Can't wait to see you guys next time. I will be back. Peace, love, and light, everybody.